I'm new to BJJ and want to record my rolls. Can I bring a tripod to class and start recording? This is going to be very dependent on your coach, your what they say, your instructor, if it's different, the owner of the gym, and of course, probably the most important, your training partners. So, from a legal standpoint, a lot of gyms have a media release waiver, meaning that the understanding is once you sign that waiver, anytime you are filmed in the gym, your image can be used for advertisement purposes and content purposes. But, that's the legal side. But the moral side is make sure your training partners are okay with you filming them. If you're not putting it on social media or you're not going to put it on YouTube or anything like that, like I do, then you can be very clear with your training partners that, hey, this footage is for my personal use. I will never release it. Alternatively, some people just cannot be filmed for maybe their work purposes, maybe, whatever, they just are uncomfortable. So you really need to approach people and speak to them about it. And sometimes people are just in the background. You may not even be rolling with them. They're just in the background of the footage and they may not want to be on camera at all. So I would say that talk to your coach first. Don't just whip out a tripod and start filming. And if you are still a little bit worried, then use your phone because people are less intimidated by a phone than a full camera setup like sometimes that I use. Now, the last thing I will say about this is there have been some very influential and popular YouTubers and other influencers in the jiu-jitsu space that have come out very strongly against people filming their roles with the idea that it should stay behind closed doors and it makes people feel uncomfortable and all this sort of thing. I don't agree with that. I think that's horseshit. I think that there is a lot of value to be gained by filming yourself and studying the tape and even sharing it with your training partners so you can both learn from it. So if you're only filming to try and get a highlight reel to put on Instagram, sometimes people will take that the wrong way. I've had incidents in the past where I've put footage up of myself rolling with a higher belt when I was a lower belt, and that higher belt didn't take kindly to that. Even though I had their permission to film, they knew what I was filming for. They got really upset that from their perspective, they were made out to look worse than they are. So they hated that. So that was a real rude awakening for me about, even though someone gives you their permission, after you publish the content, they may not like what you've published. And that's just the reality of when it comes to something like jiu-jitsu, where there's big egos involved and there is a rank structure. So just be aware of that as well.